Hi there. I want to share a breathing practice that makes the feeling of support and connection really tangible. So, to set yourself up for this particular breath exercise, sit on either a meditation cushion, which is what I'm sitting on right now, could be couch pillows or couch cushions, could be a yoga block. And you can certainly try sitting cross-legged. I'm sitting in Virasana or Hero's pose with my heels outside of the meditation cushion. What I want you to feel in your seat is that your pelvic floor, the place between your pubic bone in the front of your body and your anus in the back of your body, is your pelvic floor. It's sort of like a hammock of muscles that helps to hold your internal organs, quite literally, inside your body. I want you to feel that pelvic floor in firm contact with whatever it is you're sitting on. Again, cushion or block. So adjust your seat so that you feel that connection, right? It's not that we're hanging back on our tailbone and we're not rocked totally forward towards the pubic bone, but you have that plug right in the center of the pelvic floor. Now that roots us so that the central channel is stacked, not only the physical central channel, but the energetic is open and available for movement. So once you get yourself seated, do all of the adjusting that you need to do to hair or clothing. Get the fidgets out. And you can come to rest with hands on your thighs, palms face down if you need a little bit more grounding, palms face up if you need perhaps a bit more release or receptivity. And sometimes I prefer left palm stacked on top of right with thumbs joined in a gentle mudra that connects and makes a circuit, if you will, for the energy within your own body. Now, start to feel the movement of your breath, wherever it happens to move easily in your body. So you might notice chest rise and fall, and perhaps abdomen expand and contract. And sometimes for me, especially in times where I feel restless or anxious, I feel a lot more breath happening in my neck, this pulling my rib cage up to try to breathe in, using my neck muscles. So without trying to change it, just observe things as they are to begin. And then feel your feet anchor down into the floor. Anchor the front of your shin bones if you're in Hero's pose, as well as your feet. And notice that perhaps when you root down into the ground, when you engage with the earth in that way, perhaps you can feel the response, the support that comes up from that engagement. Right? Physics would say an equal and opposite response. The more we press down, the more rise is created. Principles of yoga talk about rooting to rise. But deeper than that, it helps me to feel connected, like I am engaged with the earth, with the greater community, consciousness, universe around me, versus simply being subject to gravity or being subject to the circumstances around me. So feel for that active posture. And now imagine the scaffolding of the spine, right? Each vertebra as a layer of scaffolding stacked one on top of the other all the way to your skull. And if you think about the function of scaffolding, it is meant for support. So feel that you get some from the earth, but that you can create some for yourself. And now start to imagine the spinal canal within that scaffolding. So it's our body's communication system, where our nerves run up and down to communicate from our brain to our bodies and vice versa. And then imagine even deeper than that, the subtle energetic channel that runs within that central spinal canal, called the Sushumna Nadi. And so make that canal tall, make it spacious. Then we'll target the breath more specifically. But just so you know, this particular breath exercise is much less related to the anatomy of the breath and much more an energetic experience. So don't worry if it sounds backwards relative to anatomy. Take a full breath in through your nose. Exhale all the breath out. Now, as you breathe in, imagine pulling the breath up from your pelvic floor, from the earth, into the pelvis, up the spine, chest, neck, all the way to the crown of your head. Hold. And then exhale, descend the breath down the length of your spine, all the way through the pelvis and out through the pelvic floor, down into your block or your cushion, into the earth. Inhale, draw up from the earth. Feel yourself grow tall. Breath all the way to the top of your head. Exhale, descend the breath down that central channel. Root it down into the earth and imagine it dispersing out. Inhale from the earth, pelvic floor, up into the pelvis, low back, ribs, neck, head. Exhale, follow it back down. Feel that the pelvic floor gets really heavy. It plugs into the earth as you exhale. Now keep that visualization going. Draw up from the roots, from the earth, all the way to the top of your head. And exhale, reach it down the length of your spine. Plug into the earth, see that breath disperse out. And pace of your breath, natural pace of your breath is perfect. And so you might feel this sense of rising as you breathe in, quite literally growing taller, more attentive, more supported. And as you exhale, perhaps you can imagine clearing yourself out, releasing stagnant breath, releasing stagnant breath patterns, thought patterns, and rooting them down. The earth can absorb and take it. You might even feel pelvic floor muscles engage as you breathe in and rise up. And then feel that heaviness, that connection as you breathe out. And so the inhale becomes much more than just oxygen, but it becomes a connection to life force, to the energy that animates us, to the earth that we are inextricably linked to, right? Made of the same molecules, the same atoms, the same energy as everything around us. we also get to feel the anchor, the roots, the release. And because this particular breath isn't rooted in the physiology, it takes conscious attention, each breath. And so it becomes hard to be ruminating or going over things in your mind when you are focused on the action of this breath. And for me, the feeling of plugging in, that feeling of support, helps me to remember the connection to something much greater, much bigger than just myself, much bigger than my stories, than the swirling in my mind. This seat, this breath gives me a felt sense of that. Start to feel your feet on the floor. Feel the scaffolding of your spine very tall. Join your palms together in front of your heart. Bow your chin towards your chest. Raise your chest as though it could meet your chin. Breathe intentionally here for another moment. And remember that yoga practice does not have to be fancy. It does not have to be a 60-minute yoga asana class. It can be simple. It can be short. It can go anywhere with you, into any circumstance. And I think in this time, it is so important to remember that we have those tools at our fingertips always. It's simply a matter of remembering. May the practices be of benefit to each of us, and may they be in service to the freedom and the well-being of all. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Thank you so much for joining me.